Hi, just seeing if this even works. I've been trying to record stuff, and between my computer, my kids, everything else, nothing is working correctly. Anyway, um, so I was just trying to read this article, and I apologize for the glare on my glasses, but I'm gonna try reading it again. It wouldn't let me do it before where you could see it, but I'll find a way to post the copy. Anyway, it's about King Henry VIII. King of England, second son of Henry VII, nominal lieutenant of Ireland, 1494, created Prince of Wales, 1503, on the death of his elder brother Arthur, to whose widow, Catherine of Aragon, he was contracted, but marriage was delayed till his accession in 1509, owing to disputes about her dowry, had Empson and Dudley, the agents of his father's extortions, executed in 1510, helped his mother-in-law against the Moors in 1511, and the regent of the Netherlands against Goldris, I don't know, Guilds, I guess, maybe, in 1511, joined the Pope Ferdinand and Venice in a league against France. 1511, some important naval victories won by his admirals of the Howards, one of whom captured Andrew Barton, sent an unsuccessful expedition for the recovery of Guinea. 1512, built the Henry Grace de Dieu, largest ship hitherto floated. With the help of Emperor Maximilian, won the Battle of the Spurs in 1513, the Scots being defeated at Flodden in his absence, deserted by his allies, made separate peace with France on the basis of marriage between his sister Mary and Louis of Louis XII, 1514, made Cardinal Wolsey Chancellor, followed Wolsey's advice in helping Maximilian with money to check the French in Italy, and in keeping on good terms with him, in securing Charles in Castile, and 1518 in making peace with Francis I of France, became, against Wolsey's advice, a secret candidate for the empire. 1519, met Francis at the Field of the Cloth of Gold. 1520, but had previous and subsequent interviews with the Emperor Charles V also, while pretending to mediate between them, allied himself with Charles next year at home, had Buckingham executed on the vague charge of treason. His demand for a forced loan in consequence of the threatened hostilities with France, successfully resisted by London. 1525, helped by Wolsey's negotiations to a secret understanding with France, began negotiations with the Pope for a divorce from Catherine of Aragon. 1527, given a commission to hear the case in England. 1528, which met 1529, but was revoked to Rome unfinished. 1529, dismissed Wolsey October 1520, and took Cranmer as his advisor on the divorce. Consulted English, French, and Italian universities. 1530, 8 decisions against the validity of marriage with a brother's wife, and against the Pope's power to dispense being obtained by bribery. Wrung from the clergy a qualified acknowledgment of his title as Supreme Head of the Church in exchange for a pardon for having incurred the penalties of praemunire by recognizing Wolsey as papal legate. 1531, separated from Catherine on her refusal of arbitration. 1531, secretly married his second wife, Anne Boleyn, and Cranmer, having decided against the validity of the marriage with Catherine, had Anne crowned publicly, 1533, secretly encouraged the Commons to present supplication against the ordinances. So this sounds like she was crowned queen when the divorce wasn't even final. So technically they crowned the wrong queen. That's my take. 1532 took away independent powers of convocation, named Cranmer archbishop, provisionally withdrew first fruits of benefices, annats, and abolished appeals to Rome, was excommunicated in 1533, confirmed abolition of annats, caused Elizabeth Barton to be attainted, 1533 abolished Roman jurisdiction and revenues in England, 1534 obtained Act of Succession, 1534 compelling all subjects to acknowledge Anne Boleyn's issue as heirs to the crown, imprisoned More and Fisher, executed the Nun of Kent and her adherents, 1534 suppressed the observance and imprisoned recusant friars, obtained severe treason law, parliamentary confirmation of headship of church, and transference of first fruits and tenths to the crown, 1534 to 1535, executed Fisher, More, and some Charterhouse monks for refusing to accept the king's headship. 1535 opened negotiations with German Protestants, instituted visitations of monasteries and universities by royal officers under Thomas Cromwell, 1485 to 1540 QV, and I think Queen Victoria, I don't know, and appropriated the revenues of the smaller houses. 1535, beheaded Anne Boleyn and married his third wife, Jane Seymour. 1536, had Succession Act passed in interests of Jane Seymour. 1536, at first temporized with and then crushed rising in the north and east caused by religious changes and heavy taxation. 1536 through 1537, lamented death of Jane Seymour. 1538, resumed dissolution of monasteries, but failed in negotiations with German Protestants. Maintained old doctrines, procured Statute of the Six Articles. 1539, executed last descendants of the Yorkist house. Married his fourth wife, Anne of Cleves, January 1540. Executed Cromwell and divorced Anne of Cleves, July 1540. At once married his fifth wife, Catherine Howard, had Barnes and other Protestants burned for heresy in 1538 through 1540, beheaded Queen Catherine Howard, 1542, proclaimed Ireland a kingdom in 1542, revived the feudal claim on Scotland, and defeated James V. 1542, concluded alliance with Emperor Charles V. 1543, married his sixth and last wife, Catherine Parr, debased the currency, sent an army into Scotland, which burned Leith and Edinburgh. 1544, captured Boulogne. I can't say anything. 1545, was granted the endowments of many colleges, chantries, and hospitals. 1545, deserted by Charles V, made peace with France. 1546, gained possession of St. Andrews by aiding the conspiracy against Beaton. 1546, authorized many persecutions for heresy, caused the Earl of Surrey to be beheaded, and the Duke of Norfolk attainted in 1547. Henry was technically constitutional, but practically absolute, and a consummate statesman. He completed Wolsey's College at Oxford, calling it Henry VIII's College, Christ Church, erected 6 new bishoprics from monastical endowments, and established suffragans. He wrote Assertio Septem Sacramentorum against Luther in 1521 and prefaced to revised edition King's Book of Institution of Christian Man, Bishop's Book. Many portraits of him by Holding are extant. So I just read that. I'm doing my genealogy, so this kind of makes sense. I don't even know where to go with that, because so far I've already connected myself to like all his wives biologically. So I'm trying to figure this all out, but by that it sounded like Howard, no matter what, was the successor, not Boleyn. And it's all a little bit confusing. The reason I started really getting into this is I've been doing the genealogy along with using my mtDNA, and my mtDNA screams Viking, Orkney, Wales. I have it around here somewhere. But I will post that up along with posting a copy of what this form I just read was. I found it through Family Search Archives, which is the LDS archives for genealogy. And I'm not going to lie, it's amazing because they have done some amazing work in there. So you got to thank the Mormons for their research. Same thing with all these baptismal records and whatnot. So what I'm planning on doing is making a bunch of little like clips like this where I'm going to talk about people who are in my family tree, but also other names that maybe popped up from doing my research on my family tree. So in other words, like I'm doing my research, I come across something that I'm like, wait a minute, that has nothing to do with my family, but somebody else might be interested in this fact that I just found. I have been finding some crazy information, you guys. So this whole lockdown has been a blessing in disguise for me because I'm getting genealogy work done. For all intents and purposes, I'm going to make a separate video trying to introduce myself so that way you can kind of understand where I'm coming from. Sorry about my hot mess in the background, but yeah, so I'm doing this so that I can also re-listen to myself reading this stuff. I always try to make my husband read stuff to me because for some reason I have to hear it. Reading it, I have to read it like 5 times in order for it to like officially set in. So that being said, that's why I'm reading all these. But other people might be interested. These are supplement books, which means you have your regular history book, and then there's these extra supplement books that tell you the real as to what went down and all that. So I'm going to be bringing up more. If you have anybody specific you want more information about that might be like a little archive or something somewhere, post in the comments. Right now I'm just recording so I can rewatch it myself and also for future generations or anybody else doing genealogy research, etc. So that was a really cool one that I thought was interesting. There's a lot of conspiracies and everything else. Alright, I'm going to stop this video and then I'm going to find a way to either link the article I just read. I gotta figure out this whole video taking thing. I am so behind in the times. Alright, peace out.